Good morning. Welcome to the live training this morning. It's good to be back. I wasn't able to do the live video last Thursday because of the channel being hijacked. I'll tell you about that. I've put out a good bit of information about that and how that happened, but I'll give you a little bit of a summary if you hadn't heard. And my intention last Thursday was to do the live on our way to a National Reining Horse Association show in Tampa, Florida. So we went to that show this past weekend, and I'll talk about how that went. Had a really good show, and I am on Stetson today. We'll talk a little bit about him and talk about a horse that I just had come in for training yesterday. I haven't worked yet. I'll work her after the this afternoon. She's a little bit different as far as what we're going to be doing. She has a little bit of a medical history that I'll talk about. She's actually here to fix some problems and for some rehab. So I'll talk about that in depth. I appreciate everybody for joining in this morning. It's been kind of a turbulent last week. I had found out Wednesday about the channel being hacked, hijacked, whatever the right term is. And Wednesday I had gotten, well, actually I think I got it maybe 2 days before, an email for a sponsor, I guess you'd call it, or it appeared to be from a sponsor, national company, well-known company. I'm sure it's everybody's heard of it, but I'm not going to say who it is because it was obviously somebody posing as this company. It wasn't actually the company. Wanting to sponsor me with videos, and you know that I do very few of these, and the ones that I do, it's because I actually use the product, and this one is a company that I actually use the product, so I thought it might be a good pair, a good match, but it turned out to be a scam. Basically, when I opened the email up, it was email talking about wanting us partners on some videos and things, and then it had some links to their products, and I clicked on those links, and they all work fine. I know the company pretty good, and went on down through. I actually emailed back and forth a time or two, talking to them, and then when I clicked on the contract to open the contract up to read it, within seconds, I was getting notifications on my phone that my Gmail that is connected to my YouTube, which I don't use for anything but this YouTube, and my YouTube passwords, two-factor authentication, recovery phone numbers, everything had been changed within seconds of clicking on that to open that contract up. And it happened so quick that I didn't even get a chance to go in and change any of my passwords to stop it or anything. Within probably 3 minutes, they had done all the damage. And I went online, doing the research, trying to figure out how to go about fixing it. And the way YouTube works, I have a Gmail account that's connected to YouTube, and then I have the YouTube account. Well, it's all through Google, and when they pay me for ads, that's through Google. It's all connected. It's different company names, but Google owns it all. And started going online trying to get information how to get help from Google. Never could talk to a real person. Basically, I kept going back in a circle, wanting to reset my password, which I couldn't reset my password because I couldn't. The phone number that was connected, the email that was connected, none of that was actually my stuff. And finally was able to get to a place where I was able to do a claim or recovery. I don't remember exactly what it was called. with YouTube and with Google, and went through the process with them. It took roughly 4 days, and to go through that process, and then finally I got an email that said that basically your account has been recovered. Click here to reset your password. So I had to do my Gmail first, my Google account first, and then about a day later, they sent me basically the same email from my YouTube, and luckily it all came back, and it looks like I didn't lose anything. All my videos are still there. I really don't see where anything in my account was changed, deleted, or anything. Best I can figure out, let's turn right. A little bump up my right spur there to soften that right rein. Best I can figure out, when people do this, they're wanting to hijack the account to put stuff on that account to scam people with Bitcoin. And I never got any kind of ransom letter or anything. I believe YouTube took my account down pretty quick. I don't think they were able to scam anything. I did get a message from one person that said they saw one of their videos that was up, but um, thankfully I got it back quick and able to continue on. And I've had quite a few people say to back up all my videos, which I do. The thing about that is I have 6 4 terabyte external hard drives full of videos, and that is a lot of data. And it takes me roughly 15 minutes to upload a video, do all the title, the description, all the other buttons you have to click to satisfy YouTube. About 15 minutes per video, and I've got almost 1,500 videos up. So that would take weeks, months to get everything back up. So thankfully, I got it back. It looked like everything is all still there, no issues. If you do happen to run across a video that's not working, or something that, if you anything with the channel that just doesn't seem right, message me so that I can fix it, so I can take care of it. Because I found a couple little things, nothing real serious, just a couple little things. I had one of the links to my Patreon, a Patreon video that wasn't working. I had to redo, but all pretty minor stuff. But if you see anything that doesn't look right, if you would send me a message, and so I can take care of it. Any questions yet? Okay, this is Stetson that I am on. He is half Morgan, half Frisian. Very, very, very nice horse. He came to me with some issues that his owner was having some issues. He wasn't listening to the owner, wanting to do his own thing, pulling the reins out of her hands, all that kind of stuff. And he's been with me. I think we're starting our 2nd month, if I believe. I think we're about a week into our 2nd month, something like that. And if you saw the first videos of him, he was a pretty good handful. I rode the whole hour and never did really get ears back listening to me. But since then, he's turned. He's really nice. He's fairly young. I think he's 4, if I remember right. Maybe 5. I don't remember exactly. Very, very nice horse. He was a little bit independent, and no bad issues, just enough to kind of rattle his owner a little bit. So what we've been doing, I did a lot of work in here, getting his attention on me, moving his body around. And he still does that kind of stuff, like see how he's wanting to go left. And what I'm doing there, he's wanting to go left. And when I pull on the right rein, he's pulling on my hand a little bit. So what I'm doing is I'm taking and using my right leg to soften the side. See how that lifts the shoulder, brings his head around to the right. Same, basically, I'm just doing a bend. Typical bend exercise. I talk about that bend, counter bend exercise, and the direct rein pointing the nose, inside leg moving the shoulder, softening the shoulder. If they pull on the right rein, I use my right spur. If pull on the left rein, I use my left spur. Same thing, exactly the same. I'm just doing it because he's wanting to look over there and go over there. And a lot of that I do, because I've done it so much, it's it's pretty much second nature to me. If you start doing this with your horse and are very regular, very consistent, your horse will get really nice and consistent, and it'll become more like second nature to you. Right there's pulling on both reins, little squeeze with both legs, kind of, there we go. I was taking my spurs and just kind of massaging them a little bit to soften his back up, lift his back, and that softens his face. It's all goes back to the same basic collection. I'm never going to bump a horse's face to get collection. Collection is always, now I'm rubbing his back again, or with my spurs. See, I'm just kind of rubbing and lifting. When he softens his on my hands, now a little bit of right. He soft, so it gets soft on my hands. I soften my legs. All the same basic stuff you see me working on, and that basic stuff carries through forever with the horse. That is how you're going to use your legs with your horse forever. It's not like teach this one thing and then move on and forget about it. If I have like Sunita, for instance, we'll talk about her going to the show last weekend, warming her up, getting her ready to the show. It was all basics that I worked on. Go and steer. That was pretty much it. Go, steer, lift your back. When I say neck rein to the right, we go to the right. When I say rein to the left, we go to the left. Just that kind of stuff. Point your head where I say point it. All the same basic stuff. When we go to a show, it's just doing the same thing that we did at home, just in a different place. And I had an article come out on Facebook. I think it came out this morning. Not sure. I could be wrong, but I think it was this morning, talking about how beneficial shows are and how you should use a show. When you take your horse to a show, you should use that show to test your training, to test your cues, to test yourself, how everything's going. And that is really just the beginning of you figuring out where you are with your training, what you need to do better, what you need to work on. That's really what shows are, I think, or should be about. That's what I get out of a show. Now, we want to do good, we want to win, and when you go to a show and you do win, do good. Raven took a second place check in limited open on Sunita, so Sunita is now a National Reining Horse Association money earner. We, by doing good, by excelling, that tells us that, hey, we're on the right track with the training program with her. There's always things that can be improved, and that's where we learn what those things are and come back home and work on them. And that's what we do. It's you to show successfully and for the longevity of the horse. All you should be doing at a show is what you did at home. If you go to a show and you ride real hard, you get nervous, you get tense, you start squeezing, you make it a bad experience for the horse, then the horse isn't going to like it. It's going to get stressed. It's going to want to come back. It's not going to want to stay there. And then you're going to have problems with the horse. You're creating those problems. But if you use a horse to kind of test your program, test where your training is, what you need to fix, help with your nerves, then you're becoming a better rider, you're becoming a better trainer, your horse is becoming better. And that's really what shows are all about.
Can you suggest an exercise to improve tracking?
An exercise to improve tracking. Do you mean like tracking forward, tracking straight? Kind of follow up on that.
It's Mary English.
Okay, Mary. Tracking forward, tracking left, tracking right, tracking a cow. If you would kind of uh, give me a little more information about what you're wanting by tracking. Um, our world with cow horse, when we talk about tracking, we usually talk about tracking a cow. If you're a English rider, you're probably talking about steering. So if you would just give me a little bit more.
Foot falls forward.
Foot falls forward. Okay, so tracking forward. Um, so in my opinion, I say people make a lot more of that than there is to it. Really, when you're asking your horse to track forward, go forward, I'm going to ask my horse to go. But if my horse is falling out, falling in, then I'm going to use my legs, the tools that I taught in that bend counter bend exercise to fix it, just like I was just doing with him. We're basically tracking forward in a circle, and if he wants to lean in, lean out, then I'm just going to fix that with my legs. As you are consistent with that, and it takes time, then your horse will start just tracking forward and stay there until you tell him to do something else. That's really big with our reining horses. We want our horses to do whatever we told them to do, whatever we tell them to do, and continue to do that until we tell them to do something else. We don't want to have to keep putting a cue on. We don't want to have to keep putting a neck rein on. If we say go that way, we want the horse to go that way until we say, okay, now let's go this way. So as far as getting the horse to track forward better, it's all about the bend counter bend. It's all about if you're pulling on your left hand or your left hand over here, pulling on your left hand, use your left leg, pull on your right hand, use your right leg. And that softens the ribs up. The head, people look at the head and they think, well, we need to get the nose in. We need to break at the pole, get the nose in. But all the head is kind of an indicator of what the body's doing. It's really the body that you need to fix. And that's why I say when they're pulling on the right hand, use your right leg. Because if the head goes to the left, they're going to pull on the right hand. The head goes to the left, the body's going
Okay. Your back. Okay, it says your back.
to. Says we're back. Good. If you hear me, if you would put it in the comments. This is really aggravating. This has been happening just about every upload, every live, and I really don't think it's on our end. I think it has to do with either our internet connection, or YouTube. I really don't know. I might have to change internet providers and see if that helps. What?
It says we're back.
Okay, good. So I'm on Stetson, and he has been pretty good. Still giving us a little problems when we ride him out. Right then, when we was refreshing the internet, flock of geese flew up over there, and he kind of startled just a little bit. I need to get him more time out. This work that you see me do in the arena is really good to set that foundation to teach all the tools that I need, all the tools that the horse needs. But you really have to get out of here, ride in the pasture, ride in the parking lot. I rode Guinevere in the parking lot yesterday, ride in a bigger arena, ride down the road. You really need to get out of a small closed-in arena like this to really get the horse broke. In here, you can teach all the tools that you need, but you can't really get them broke.
This is a comment.
Okay.
Angela, the post about shows framed them in the context of a training program. Changed my mind about what kind of trainer I want to be for my horse. Thank you.
Oh, that's great, Angela. The post I made about shows changed her mind about the kind of trainer that she wants for her horse. And until, I don't know, probably 2012, I think it was, I was all about winning as much as I could win, get the best horses I could get, win as much as I could win. And I got burned out on hauling. I got burned out on training as a whole. I quit training horses for probably 2 years. I didn't even get on a horse. And when my perspective changed about instead of winning as much as I could win on the best horse that I could get, when it changed from that to making every horse as good as that horse could be, then I think I became a better trainer, and I know my horses became better horses. And to me, that's what a good trainer should be doing. I know a lot of them, many trainers, or many upper level, high level trainers that are still out there trying to do as good as what they can do. And when we get a horse in that's at that level, we're going to see what that horse can do. We're going to take every horse and try to have that horse attain whatever their capabilities are, whether whether it's a kid's horse, a beginner horse, an intermediate horse, or an open level horse. Um, we're going to try to have every horse attain their capabilities. And that's a whole lot more enjoyable to me now in my stage of life and my training. And I want every horse to be as good as they can be. We took Sunita to Tampa last weekend. Raven won a check on her in limited open. Uh, first, first NRHA check Sunita has won, and she's a really good horse. And we'll take her to see to whatever level she's capable of going in. It's not that I don't want to win any big titles anymore. We want to qualify for world shows and everything else, but the horses that don't make that level, we still want to make those horses as good as they can be.
What sort of show will Stetson go to?
Okay, what sort of show will Stetson go to? I think his owner is primarily going to be using him as a trail horse. She wants just a good, steady trail horse that is just rock solid, doesn't scare at things. And I don't think she has any goals to train, I mean, to show, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Good, solid trail horses are just as valuable, just as good, and it takes just as good a horse. So I don't think his plans are to ever show. But if she does decide to show, all the foundation is going to be there. All the basics are going to be there. All shows are, just like I wrote in that article. Shows are used to evaluate your training, how you're communicating with your horse, how you're progressing your horse along. So if she does decide she wants to show him, all those foundations are going to be there. There's a lot of what I do is different than a lot of what some other people do. And I know I've seen some comments from people that have ranches out west that start a bunch of 2-year-olds and they go out and work cows all day. And they get their horses broke, pretty dang broke. But the thing about that is they're broke, but they don't have the basics of the body control. They don't have the expression, the look that a judge is going to want to see when the horse comes into the arena. And you can take that horse and you can go out in the pasture and you can get a job done, and that's great. We need those kind of horses in the world too. But the horse is not going to show that judge an expression that the horse would need to show in order to do well. And the in many cases the horse is going to be a little bit stiffer, body might be a little bit more crooked, maybe not quite as soft in the pole, things like that that are not necessarily detrimental to the job that they're doing out there, but would be detrimental to a show horse. And that's why it takes time to build this foundation, build this body control, keep this soft body so that all of the other buttons can develop. You have a horse, say a 4-year-old that you put under saddle, and he's under saddle 5 days, and you take him to round up 3,000 head of cows. He can still get the job done, but he's not going to be as soft through the body. He's not going to have the body control that one that started to be a show horse would have.
Okay. Ty would like to know if you've ever trained a mule with your training.
Okay, Ty, have I ever trained a mule? Back years ago, I have taken a couple of mules, and we just didn't get along. So I don't take mules anymore. I've actually had that question come up a lot recently. Not sure why, but I don't take any mules. Nothing wrong with the mule. I like riding a good mule. It's just, I think it's because of the body control that I ask for. And I don't know, for whatever reason, the couple of mules that I trained, we just didn't get along. So I just don't take mules for training. Uh, Nothing wrong with a good mule. I like riding a good mule, especially trail riding as anybody else.
Um, Watched an older clip of a young 2-year-old filly. Her name was Rosa or Zora. What do you know what happened to her? Do you recall?
Uh,
Could be Rose,
well, Rose was older.
Zora.
There was Zara. That horse we started on the saddle was doing really good. I did talk to that owner. I don't remember when. I think it was earlier this year, and said she was doing great. Didn't really elaborate into what they're doing with her, but said that she was doing great. That's one of the horses that I believe we started last year, maybe if I remember right. I think she was a roan, and nice horse to start, and very sensible. But owner said she's doing great now.
How much groundwork would you do with a yearling? Getting a yearling whose halter rope leads well and also knows how to stand high.
Okay, how much groundwork would I do with a yearling? Leads well, stands tied. So usually, what I'm going to do with the yearling, for the most part, I'm going to turn them out and let them be a horse. I'm not going to dwell a whole lot on halter work, basically, or not halter, groundwork. Basically, what I want from a yearling or a weanling for that matter, any young horse, I want to be able to catch him and halter him. I want to be able to lead him wherever I want to go. I want to be able to doctor on him if he has any cuts or anything that he needs me to put medicine on, fly spray on. I want to be able to do that. I want to be able to trim his feet, and I want him to be good for all that. But I really don't take that any further when they're yearlings. And people say, well, lunging's bad for them and all that kind of stuff, and it could be. But that's not really the reason I don't do anymore. You can overdo your groundwork to a point where it causes some issues in the saddle. And I've talked about some of those issues in the past. We've had some horses that had a lot of groundwork, and then when we went to put them under saddle, we had some problems. That's like if you get a horse too soft in the face doing groundwork as a yearling, and he's really, really soft. You start him under saddle, and he goes to buck or kick or whatever, and you go to pick up his rein, and he's so soft that he bends his head, but he keeps doing whatever the bad thing is. Then you've created a problem. And we had that issue with a Mustang that came in a while back. Had so much groundwork done, just looked like he'd flexed his head back and forth a lot. And then when we broke him to ride, we had a really hard time teaching him to steer because his neck was soft and his shoulders didn't know how to follow his nose. So you can do some groundwork to cause some issues there. So a yearling, I want them where I can handle them, doctor on them, do their feet, um, those kind of things, and I don't do anything else until we're coming close to the time, maybe the time when they're turning two. Then I'll start doing a little bit of groundwork. I'll do more sacking out, more stuff uh, geared towards getting them ready to start under saddle. Any other questions?
No, no.
Oh, okay. I appreciate everybody for being here. joining and commenting. I know it was, I'm sure it was kind of worrisome to some of you whether I was going to get my channel back. It's definitely worrisome to me. And all of the videos that I put out are the videos that come here of horses that are videos for horses that come here for training. I've got a clinic coming up in um, Blanco, Texas, September 25th, 26th, I believe, in that range. Check and make sure. I believe all the riding spots are full. I think there are some audit spots that are still left. If you're interested in that clinic, you can message me and I'll put you in touch with the person you need to talk to. Get you in touch with Dusty, and he can get you set up for that. That is going to be my last clinic for this year. I'm working on my clinic schedule for next year. I will be going back to Germany next year. And I'm talking about some new places that I'll be going to next year, in addition to some of the ones that I went to last year. Looking forward to going back to Germany. That, I think, is in April. All dates start to run together after a while. I think that's it. Okay, what's your question?
From Sebastian. Do you think the key to making groundwork successful is knowing when it's achieved its purpose and when to move on?
Really good point, Sebastian. Do I think what makes groundwork successful is knowing when it's achieved its purpose and time to move on? I definitely believe that to be true. But now, if you're a person that really wants to do a lot of liberty work, uh, then there's nothing wrong with that. But we, I develop riding horses. I develop horses that are going to go do something, perform in some sort of event, uh, trail ride, something like that. So there's only so much good that groundwork can do there. Groundwork is only so productive. And like Sebastian asked, yeah, when you've reached a point where what your groundwork has accomplished what it's going to accomplish, it is time to move on. And if you're working towards a horse that you want to be a riding horse that you can go do something on, whether that something is reining, cow horse, dressage, jumping, roping, whatever, then there's a point where you need to get on the horse and ride. A lot of people use groundwork because they're scared to ride, and that's kind of a double-edged sword, because if you're scared to ride, that fear is in there, and that fear is going to show on the ground too. It may not be as much fear, but that horse is still going to know there's fear there. And you should, if you're scared to ride, if you're scared to get on the horse, you really need to work through that fear, because working through that fear so that you're not scared to ride is actually going to make your groundwork better. All my groundwork exercises are geared towards doing something in the saddle.
All right. You have someone, Angie, rewatch Bob's videos. Did you ever continue training him like he said? Just curious.
Okay, as far as Bob, I did not continue training him because I got very full with paying horses, and he got kind of pushed to the back burner. He's still right there. I can see him right here, and he's doing great. I could get on him and to put a couple week tune up on him and take him to a ranch show. His training is stuck really nice. So I'd love to get him to be able to keep him trained, but whenever I have a full barn of paying horses, they always get rode first, and then my horses get pushed to the back. And Bob he's in his mid-teens now, so he deserves a little bit of a semi-retirement, I guess.
Okay. And Jen, what do you think is the ideal age to actually start riding a youngster?
Okay, what do I think is the ideal age to actually start riding a young horse? Everybody has different opinions, and they have very strong opinions. And a lot of people have very strong opinions, but don't really understand what problems that causes. As far as I'm usually going to start riding my horses somewhere towards the beginning of the 2-year-old year. But what you have to understand is that doesn't mean that I'm riding them hard 5 days a week. That means that they're broke to ride, and we're going to get on that horse and we might go make a loop around the pasture and come back. That doesn't mean that we're going to lope any, doesn't mean we're going to trot any, but I'm going to get that horse under saddle. I'm going to start working on the body control. The reason that is so important is because I need to be molding that mind into a state where it's willing to accept training. And I need to be molding the body so that as they continue to mature, muscle is put on in the right places so that they carry their body, their back up. They muscle their back, they muscle their hips, they carry themselves correctly. I will not take a horse to start older than 3. And I may not be starting anymore at all. We'll see. But I won't take a horse older than 3. And this has been years. And the reason for that is when a horse is 4 years old, his mind is much more mature. It's much more settled into what it's going to be. His body is much more settled into what it's going to be. And you actually end up uh, that you have to work the horse much, much harder mentally and harder physically to kind of retrain the direction that their mind and their body is going in. And so many people want to say, well, they're just babies at 2, they're babies at 3, their bodies haven't developed yet. That's exactly right. That's why they need to be started then. But started doesn't necessarily or doesn't mean ridden hard. It means started. It means the basics being taught. I have several horses here, and several of my students' horses that are well over 20 years old. They were started as 2-year-olds. But the thing about it is, you have to do it right. And starting them right as a 2-year-old, get their mind and their body developing into the horse that they need to be. That, in my opinion, is much better for the horse than wait until the horse is 4 or 5 years old. All the joints are fully developed, the body's fully developed, and then changing how that developed. So to me, they need to be started during the 2-year-old year.
She said, great explanation. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. And I understand when people have concerns about starting them that young. It is really easy to start a 2-year-old and overdo it and blow out their joints and blow out their mind. It's easy. But there was a time when we got on horses that we started and we bucked them out, and you didn't do the groundwork, you didn't do the work that we do now to start a horse, and you got on them and you bucked them out. And if you're on a ranch out west and you're starting 4 and 5-year-olds so that you can go ride them all day, 5 days a week, 7 days a week, to go move 10,000 head of cows, yeah, you're going to wait till they're a little bit older, because that's a lot physically harder work, and you need that mind and that body to be more mature to do it. But on the other side of that coin, just like I talked about earlier, that same horse is not going to be have his body conditioned like it's going to need to be conditioned to go out and show in something. His mind isn't going to be there. His body isn't going to be there. He's not going to show the look that the judge wants to see. So it's all a matter of everything in moderation and be smart about what you do.
I don't know if you want to go here. So do you think TV racing 2, 3-year-olds is too young for their bodies?
Okay, do I think thoroughbred racing 2 and 3-year-olds is too young for the bodies? Some of them it's too young, some of them it isn't. I think any blanket statement like that is very uninformed. A lot of horses are raced as a 2-year-old, do fine as a 2-year-old, and end up to be 20-year-old horses. Some horses are raced as 2-year-olds breakdown is 6-year-olds and have to be put down. It's all a matter of that individual horse. Um, Reining futurity horses, cow futurity horses, they're all started as 2-year-olds. They're pushed a little bit harder, and they're shown as 3 and 4-year-old horses. Some of them hold up just fine. I've got one horse out of these older horses that was shown in the big NRHA futurity, won some money, and hold up fine. It's all a matter of the horse. And there's some horses you can start as a 5-year-old and they're going to break down. So I think any blanket statement like that is just not great.
Why no back cinch? Period.
Why no back girth? So I ride in back girths a lot. You don't see it in here because when I'm in here, I'm working on this body control stuff. I'm working on moving the shoulders, moving the hips, and I don't want that back girth interfering with teaching those cues. After those cues are taught, back girth goes on, and we always have a back girth on when we're to the point where we're working some cows, doing some hard turns. I can put a back girth on him. He rides fine with a back girth. So, and that, I want to just comment on just the statement. A lot of people, or some people, will watch one video and take one thing, like I don't have a back girth on him, and assume that I never ride with a back girth. And with any video, mine, anybody else's, you shouldn't ever make those sort of assumptions because I ride with a back girth a lot. Um, Other people with other videos, you're going to see them do something in a certain phase of training, maybe like mine or earlier phase. I don't use a back girth. I put a back girth on later. Uh, a lot of the trainers that start off with back girths don't work towards reining and cow horse like I do. It's just a different program. It's not that one's better, one's worse. It's just different. Let's play with his backup a little bit. That was a little bit of a issue. I have a video on my Patreon where I'm working his backup. That's for stop. Take the slack out of my reins. Squeeze with my spurs. Whoop. He started to shift his weight back and then he went forward. Good boy. He is just a very forward thinking horse. It's like, there we go. Many horses just don't shift their brain from forward into neutral or forward into reverse as good as other horses. Not that one's better or worse than the other, it's just different. Right here, I don't have any leg on. He's trying to push forward. I'm going to wait till I can soften my hands and then squeeze with my spurs. I have a video on Patreon where I break that down real precise, what my hands are doing, what my legs are doing. And with him, he's just a real forward-thinking horse. I got another horse in there, Guinevere. She's the same way. Her brain is always thinking forward. The backup has been a little bit of work to get it to come. When Stetson came, he didn't have any woe. And part of not having the woe was his brain is always thinking go forward. And a lot of different, not just different breeds, but different bloodlines inside breeds. Some of them are just think that way. The brains are different. That's the reining horses and the cow horses that I work. They have very unique brains. They'll go backwards just as quick as they'll go forward, and their brains are always bouncing around, and they're very wiggly through their bodies. And it's the type of body that they have, and the type of mind that they have, and different bloodlines within certain breeds are just that way. I'm gonna stop and tell you a story, and this just happened the other day. So somebody, local friend of mine, sent me some pictures of a horse and sent me some papers of a horse. He said, I'm thinking about buying this horse. What do you think? I said, the horse is going to buck. And it's a young horse. I think it's a 3-year-old that's recently started on the saddle. He said, how do you know? I said, I know those horses on his papers, they buck. And he said, well, how much are you going to charge me to train him? I said, well, I'm probably going to charge you a little bit extra because I know he's going to be a handful. Said, some other bloodlines, not going to be a problem. He's going to buck. He's going to take extra work. He's going to be a handful. I got to charge you a little extra to train him. And he said, okay. Didn't hear from him. Well, he came by here yesterday or the day before. I don't remember which. And he said, I went and looked at that horse. He said, I got there and talked to the whoever was selling the horse and tell him, I said, my trainer says he's going to charge me extra to train this horse because he's going to buck. And the guy that was selling the horse, I don't know anything about him, if he's a trainer or a trader or what. He said, well, your guy don't know what he's talking about. This horse ain't got no buck in him. So they saddled the horse up, went to put his foot in the stirrup to get on, and the horse jumped out sideways out from underneath him. And he said, well, maybe my trainer does know what he's talking about. And they ended up messing with the horse a little while. Eventually did get on him and had a hump in his back. But naturally he didn't buy the horse. So just kind of a funny story. There's so many people that say, well, I don't care if the horse is papered, you can't ride papers. And that's true. And in many cases, a horse, it's okay to not have papers. But when you have a horse that when you understand bloodlines and follow bloodlines as much as I do and have trained as many horses as I trained, I got a pretty good idea of what that bloodline horse is going to act like before I ever get on them. And so it's having papers can be very, very beneficial.
Okay, you have a question?
Okay.
Do you think training with treats is helpful or detrimental?
Do I think training with treats is helpful or detrimental? So what I train for what I want to do, I don't think treats is helpful. As far as being detrimental, not going to be detrimental for every horse, but it's going to be detrimental for some horses. Just like I said about the racing 2-year-old and 3-year-old thoroughbreds, it's kind of a blank statement. Blank statements like that, it's always going to, the answer is always going to be maybe, because some horses it's going to be fine, some horses it's not going to be fine. I don't train with treats. There are some issues with treats as far as with being a leader and accomplishing what you want to accomplish with your relationship with your horse. And people argue with me all the time. Different that you can go out and build a relationship with treats, and some horses you can. Some horses, that horse is going to get aggressive. Bob out there, you've seen what I do with Bob. You've seen how broke he is. You give him one treat and he's going to be a biting horse for the next 6 months. He's going to bite every hand close to it. Just how he is. Treats, I don't use treats anywhere in my program. Now, you might be able to use them. You might be able to get away with it. Might be okay. But sooner or later, it's going to become a problem. And when we take the horses that we train and train them to be as good as we can make them be, we want that horse to feel like that horse has gone and accomplished something, become our team member. And I don't believe that level of a team can be accomplished with treats in general. We're going to have to work on his stop. He's starting to push through my hands. Now let's ask him to trot. I'm going to come around. I'm going to turn into the wall. I bet it's just going to take once or twice. I think he's just getting bored. I've had to work on this with him in the past. Turn to the wall. Trot, trot, trot. I think he's just getting bored just from sitting around so long. We're going to turn the wall again. Now let's see if we'll stop. There. Good boy. And when you're doing something with your horse, like right here with him, I'm basically just sitting on him and walking around talking. You still have to listen to the horse. You still have to recognize when a problem is surfacing, like him not wanting to stand and push it through my hands, and you have to be willing to adjust and fix that on the spot. Because if you don't, and it keeps pulling through your hands or whatever your horse is doing, then the problem's just going to keep getting worse. And you, as a horseman, needs to be able to recognize when that's happening with your horse and take care of it right then. See how much better he's standing now?
Okay, what do you think of Buck McHugh bloodline?
That bloodline, there's nothing wrong with it, but it's so old that you're going to have so much other stuff mixed in with it that uh, you have to look at everything else that's mixed in, because so every horse has its behaviors, its qualities, and when they're that old, there's only so much of that particular bloodline there. Any other questions?
No, I don't think no.
Okay. I think we're at a good place to stop for today. I appreciate everybody for joining in. I appreciate all the great questions. Again, this is Stetson that I'm on, and he's been a trooper today. And I'll continue to work with him. And he's got a playlist on YouTube of all his videos. And if you're interested in the more in-depth training videos that I make, those are on Patreon. If you'd like to follow me there. Until next time, thank you for watching.